in this crazy, unusual world and a lot of changes happening. And I always come back to changes and challenges are nothing but opportunity with the right mindset, the right perspective, and the right action, right? So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about emotional intelligence. Like our business is all about our ability to build relationships, to build trust, to connect with people. And the foundation of that is having really strong emotional intelligence, really having empathy and trying to look at things from the other person's perspective. I find it really somewhat surprising, even after being on this earth for 53 years, how often we just look at things from our own perspective as opposed to also looking at them from the other person's perspective, particularly when we're trying to build a relationship with them, like our clients and like our peers. And we just think about it, what does it mean for us? And we don't really, I don't think, and I'm making generalization, spend nearly enough time thinking about what does it look like and feel like from the other person's perspective. Because at the end of the day, the only way you build a relationship is if it's mutually beneficial, and particularly a sustainable relationship that needs to be win-win. Because if it isn't, it won't sustain. So let's go to the next slide here. And how do we control our emotions? How do we, because we're emotional beings, right? And emotions can be great. They can be tremendous energy to propel you forward, and they can also get in your way and be a big obstacle. It allows them to, and let your emotions get the best of you and not have grace under pressure. Because we're oftentimes in a lot of pressure. Our job does provide a lot of pressure, and a lot of things don't go the way we want them to. And how do we respond thoughtfully, intelligently, and not allow our emotions to get the best of us and do things we may regret down the road? Because again, building trust is about credibility. Michael, go ahead.
I would say take a beat. Remember, when something bad happens or you get bad news or you get a client that is blowing up at you for something, just take a beat. It'll likely resolve itself. If you just relax and tell it, it's okay to say, let me find out the answer, or I don't know, or
yeah. And when someone reacts and lashes out in some way and sort of comes at you, like, once again, how do you respond to that? Do you react and fight fire with fire? Or do you take a beat, as Michael would say, keep composed, listen, let them vent for a moment, and then process that and respond thoughtfully and ask them, is that really what you mean? Can I understand better? Let me apologize if an apology is appropriate. Let me better understand what you're trying to say and what your concern is, and how do we together create a solution, right? And being thoughtful, being calm, cool, collected says a lot, because people will respond to that. And if you respond with a lot of energy and escalate the situation, then they'll do the same, and it just continues to escalate, and then it gets worse. So I think understanding, having a high degree of self-awareness to understand your emotions and really process everything and not react, but respond, which means processing first and then responding, I think is very, very powerful, and we can all practice that. I always say, rarely do I lose my composure, almost never, to be honest with you, other than with my dad, for instance. And I've worked a lot on that, and I've actually gotten a lot better. But I have that level of self-awareness where I know when I'm in a heated conversation with my dad, I need to sort of go elsewhere so people don't see that, to be honest with you, So, but it does start with self-awareness and practice and having the discipline to do that. So you can't control your emotions. Controlling your emotions starts with personal responsibility, not blaming other people, really looking at yourself and saying, what can I do differently? Because no one makes you do anything. You choose to do everything you do. So when people say they made me do it because they said this or they did that, that's BS, quite frankly. You chose to do that, right? You're only allowing them to get the best of you when you're putting responsibility on them and not on yourself. Your perspective toward life and challenges, which are absolutely inevitable, will help you really control your emotions, right? Expect the unexpected, because we get disappointed and often upset and lash out when things don't go our way. But that's part of life. That's part of business. So when you understand that, and that is your expectation, you're going to be far more purposeful about controlling your emotions and not letting them get the best of you, right? Self-awareness, as I said, combined with agency, which is personal responsibility, and hope. I'm a huge believer in hope. Hope means that you believe things will get better in the future. But hope only comes with action, in my mind, realistic hope. People can hope and they can, hope and pray and do whatever. If they're not actually doing something about it, I think that hope often falls very, very flat. Believe things again will be better when you focus on discipline and consistent effort. Thoughts, comments, questions? Ron?
So, Bernard, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. We had a client recently where she was going through a divorce, a lawyer, an attorney who is very savvy with reading contracts, understanding what you're explaining to her. But she was going through a divorce. She fell out of several escrows. She would go in, then the husband would come back and say, let's fix it. Then they would cancel escrow and try to fix it. Then they went back in and she's like, I'll buy it on my own. Now the husband's back in, let's fix it. I mean, this happened like 3-4 times. And she was getting upset with everything. She emotionally, she was disconnected because she's going through so much, right? And so interest rate hikes were setting her off. The interest rate went from 6.99. Now the market's a lot worse, and she's at 7.125. And that hike of 0.1% just completely set her off. So like your clients are going to disconnect, get emotional, and the way it's absolutely phenomenal. You can't let that get to you. You got to disconnect for a minute, understand what they're going through. Otherwise, it's going to drive you insane, right? So that was a great example of all of this and the way she controlled it as a professional.
Yep. Love it. Jerry, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna also say that focus on what you control doesn't just apply to the way you treat other people, it's how you treat yourself. I think that we should also be kind to ourselves, kinder, and celebrate the wins along the way. This is a tough business, and there's a lot of no's and a lot of obstacles that we have to overcome. So celebrate the wins along the way and be kind to yourself as well as being kind to other people. I think we forget to do that sometimes. I just wanted to add that because we were talking to an agent earlier this morning and she couldn't see the success that she was having because it wasn't exactly what she was hoping for, but she's on the right path. She's going to get there. But if she continues to be hard and negative towards herself, she's never going to achieve those goals. So be kind to yourself.
Yep. And for that point, which I just did a little reel on, you attract what you project. So if you're negative, even to yourself, people are going to feel and sense that, and they're not going to most likely want anything to do with that. So just be conscientious of that. Yeah. Love it. The next slide. And it does come back to managing your own internal expectations, right? First and foremost, like, again, knowing that challenges and disappointment is inevitable. And I always come back to one fundamental way I live my life. Everything is relative, right? So if everything were always great, there would be no great because everything's relative, right? So the challenges, the disappointments, I really do think about this. I view them that way. They are just a stepping stone to getting to the great wins and the victories and the good things. And sacrifice and challenges, and that's just part of life, and again, they make you appreciate the good times that much more. Again, a lesson I'm fundamentally trying to instill in my son, which has not been easy, but we're making progress. So I think that's really important. And also, of course, managing the expectations of your clients and others around you, right? We're naturally salespeople. We want to please, and that's good. The intentions are usually very good. Do your best to have the discipline to underpromise and overdeliver. And that's hard. That's really hard for me, sure. And I think for many people, but I think it takes discipline, it takes practice to really manage the expectations that you're creating with other people so that you set yourself up and them to succeed, right? Because when you create an expectation and then you fall flat on delivering it, no one's particularly happy. And again, building trust over time is a big fundamental. The managing of the expectations is very critical to that, right? We often overestimate what we can achieve in a short period of time and underestimate what we can achieve in a long period of time. And that gets back to, again, managing your own expectations, that greatness takes time. I always say, play the long game with urgency. It's how I live my life, right? I realize that anything great is a process that takes time, but within that does not give you the relinquished responsibility to take action now, have urgency now. The sooner you plant the seeds, the sooner you reap the rewards, pure and simple, right? So recognizing that, so when you don't see an instant return on your effort, that you're not disappointed, you stick with it and you endure, because that is what greatness is. It's about enduring and playing the long game. Expect the unexpected. We talked about that, confronting it, because at the end of the day, challenges, once again, are opportunities to build confidence, right? There's nothing more gratifying than when you have a huge challenge and you leaned into it and overcame that challenge, right? We all can relate to that. That feels good. That gives you confidence. It helps you build skill and it makes you more resilient. So the next challenge you confront, you'll be that much better prepared. And the mindset will be there that this is an opportunity to grow and evolve. So those managing your own expectations and the expectations of others is, I think, critically important to living a fulfilling life. Any comments on that or questions? Yes.
Yeah, you were mentioning like kind of making sure that your attitude is in check, essentially.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, there we go. And I personally feel like I've recently been coming out of somewhat of a slump by like going to the gym and like sort of just exercising and watching my food a little bit better. And I'm curious what some of those things might be for you, because it's
And for me, I mean, just one thing is, again, exercise, a fundamental part of my life. Like,
Yeah.
and even like it's more than anything physical. It's like my mental therapy. It gets me in motion.
yeah.
There's so many elements of that. First of all, it's scientifically proven to like your endorphins, all the hormones become much better in your favor when you're exercising.
Right.
It also gives you far less time in many ways to ruminate and vacillate about worry and stuff like that. Because you're in action, you're doing stuff, right? You can still worry when you're exercising, but nevertheless, it's a lot harder. There's just, and it just creates energy, it really does so to me, that's fundamental. And I think, having a routine, having a schedule, nothing is more overwhelming, I think, and frustrating than when you wake up and you don't know what to do. So right? Very basic. If you have a plan and you have a schedule, so when you wake up, you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. And that's therefore it gets you in motion. You don't have to think about, should I do this? Should I not do that? Should I do that? That can be pretty disappointing and frustrating. And a lot of people live their lives that way. Like I'm very purposeful about having goals, having a plan. It's in my calendar. It's reflected in my schedule and I'm in motion. I'm going. I think within that motion, I do have time to reflect, to be away from people. I go for a long walk every night with no one. I think and I process the day. But during the day, I'm very much in motion and it's very intentional. And I think it's a pretty strong recipe for achievement and growth. So hopefully that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, last slide. And again, these are a lot of my sayings here. You find what you're looking for. You find, whatever you look for, you will find. All right. You can find the problem and then find the solution, which is what I tend to do. Look for the problem, but very quickly shift to what am I going to do about it to create a solution. You can find the good in people and give them the benefit of the doubt, or you can look for the negative in people. And quite frankly, everyone's got plenty of both. So you choose. And I choose to give people the benefit of the doubt. I've been disappointed many, many times. That's okay. I'm good with that because if you don't give them the benefit of the doubt, you never give them an opportunity to show you their greatness. And therefore you limit yourself and them significantly. So I'm a big believer in looking for the good in people, looking for their unique superpowers, looking for solutions, right? Because that's how you create value. You create a solution for someone, right? A client, a family member, whatever the case may be. That's how you create value. And that is about finding what you're looking for. There's always a silver lining in everything and often not easy to find. But if you look for it, you have a much higher probability of finding it. The bold statement, when you focus on expands, completely true. If you're just focused on negativity, you're focused on problems all the time, which I know many people that are, and you're focused on being a victim, you will become a victim. Or you can choose otherwise, right? It's all a choice. What got you here and where you're sitting right now is a product of all the decisions you've made in your life. And if you're not happy about it, what are you going to do about it? Because you're the one who put you there, right? And life ain't fair, right? So that's not fair. He has this, I don't have that. They have that, I don't have it. Okay, what are you going to do about it? You're right. That's a fact. And that's just the way life is. So the sooner everyone recognizes that, the sooner you live a more fulfilling life. That's 100% how I live my life. So, and then you can't control your first thought. I think it's important. This is a great lesson, but you can control every thought thereafter. So when you get disappointed about something or you get upset about, that's human nature. You really can't control that, but you cannot necessarily express it to other people. And then you can say, what am I going to do about it? And then you turn that quote unquote negativity or disappointment or whatever that is in the moment to a thoughtful, purposeful, productive response. And then don't let that initial emotion, just let it be a state, which is fleeting. Don't let it be a mood, which means it's much more sustainable. Again, all choices that we make. And those that have that emotional intelligence are more resilient. I'm a huge believer in resilience because life is going to smack you in the face all over the place, particularly if you're ambitious. And if you see that as an opportunity to continue to forge forward, you'll live a far more fulfilling life. And if you choose to be a victim, that's a choice and it probably won't be very gratifying. So thoughts, questions? Jeff?
Yeah, so EQ can be developed in a much easier way than IQ. IQ is, you can develop your intelligence a bit, but you're kind of stuck with what you got there. But EQ is something that can be developed and
And I'll be frank with you.
for to be a highly functioning EQ person or whatever the term.
And look, this world, as anyone who's chores and lives more years, people, not that this is the end all barometer, but the most, I think, most successful, financially viable people, like the EQ piece is far more valuable than the IQ piece because it's your ability to build relationships, right? If you want to be great at anything, with rare exception, if you're a CEO of a company, you're a great entertainer, you're a great athlete, you're part of a team. And that's EQ, pure and simple. And I even just, again, I come back to my son who's very social and all that. And it's like the most important thing he's doing right now is he gets along with all these different kids, like the athletes, the cool kids or whatever they are, the nerds, whatever. And that makes me more gratified than anything because he has that degree of emotional intelligence and ability to connect to people. So, and to Jeff's point, we all have that opportunity, and it starts seeking to understand, looking at things from the other person's perspective, and really genuinely asking good questions, listening and caring. And it's not hard. We all have that potential, and it takes practice. No matter how good you are, you can always become better if you choose to. Love it. Anyone else? Good stuff.
Can I add something really quick? If you have a client that's being really emotional, their emotional state is a massive roller coaster. I'm a big AI guy. I love artificial intelligence and I'm living in the matrix all the time with it because I think we can use it for our advantage. There's a program called Crystal Knows. Crystal Knows is an AI that pulls a disc profile. Crystal Knows is an AI system that pulls a disc profile for anyone you want. It researches everything about that person, everything that they've commented on, everything that they've liked on social media. And then it gives you a disc profile things, don't talk about these things. So you could have triggered the person because you keep talking about your dog, but this person hates dogs because they got bit really bad. And the disc profile says, do not talk about dogs, right? So it's a little bit of a system that can help you with connecting.
Ron's looked up every single one of you.
Crazy. All right, we're shifting here. The market is definitely picking up. We're doing great stuff here. I couldn't be more proud of the resilience, the commitment that all of you guys have. I'm not going to go down the list, but this is weekly closings and we're doing some great things in still what remains a very challenging market. I'll be curious to hear from Jerry, Lauren, Brandon, a little bit about their observations, and of course, Ron and Ramin. So let's give everyone a round of applause. And then here are our monthly from April top producers, top agents. I will actually name them all: Nick, Mark, Christian, Amelia, Christina, Armand, Amit, Desiree, Claire, and then Michael Eisenberg, number one. He also has, I was just looking at the front thing, he's got like two $10+ million listings still. I mean, when Michael's on a roll, he's on a roll and he's pretty phenomenal. So amazing to the individual agents. And then it's Sean Cormandy and Sabina, Devin and Aaron, Jeff Yarbrough team, Adriana Malika, and then Bellet, Grackle, and Glick. Amazing guys. commercial, which we're gaining a lot of momentum on the commercial front. I'm very proud of that. Shia being the new managing director, and Austin still remains a great part of it, and he's at number 3 there. But Joe at number 1, partner CRE number 2, and Austin Chen number 3. Amazing guys. All right. So we have this amazing relationship with Rocket Mortgage. I've talked about it numerous times. I'll talk about it numerous more times. If you don't know Ron and Ramin, absolutely get to know these guys. They do so many things so well, and they really distinguish themselves on some of the products that they have, some exclusive offerings that they have for all of you guys that aren't offered elsewhere. And beyond the obvious of helping them get a loan approved and closed, these guys can help you on your listings, help market those listings, help bring buyers to those listings. So they're here to create value for you with no expectation. So just leverage them, get to know them, build relationships with them. You guys want to come on?
Yeah. Hey, guys, Ron, for me. Thanks. Jared, if, what I want to touch on really quick is what you guys are seeing over here. This is exclusive to you guys only. And there are several ways that you could take advantage of this. So because of our partnership, and Rocket Mortgage is the #1 lender in the country, no one does as much volume as us at all. We're over 1.5 trillion funded, right? And we have this relationship with you guys specifically with this office that's unlike anything else. Rocket Mortgage with a local division, this local expertise that they created a couple of years ago was designed to be purchase client realtor centric. And what we've done with our relationship with Josh and with Paul is we've given you guys the ability to offer your clients benefits they won't get anywhere else, including if they come to Rocket Mortgage directly, not through you guys. They don't get any of these things, right? So they're going to get preferential interest rates. The rate's going to be a lot lower than what they would get if they just went through Rocket directly. Underwriting processing fee waived, not just for this purchase, but their future refinance as well. So the benefit continues even when they refinance that house that you help them buy.
And let me just double down on that. Guys, you know the kind of friction, I forget who was saying it earlier, with, hey, what are interest rates doing? They're going up. I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. There's absolutely no reason to wait. You have a free refinance with these guys. So when and if the interest rates go down, cost-free, you refinance with them. So that should take all those objections off the table.
Now there's several ways. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
There's several ways that I want you guys to utilize the benefits that we offer. We're coming up with management. We're coming up with a one-sheet paper that a flyer that you guys can share with your clients to get them to sign the buyer's agreement with you. We want to help you get the buyer's agreement signed. So one of the ways you can't go to a client and say, let's get creative with the purchase price, because it might seem like it's value manipulation for a property, right? But the reality is, let's say I want to sell my property. I don't want to give any sort of commissions to the buyer's agent at all. This whole NAR lawsuit situation, right? So the reality is, if I sell my property for a higher value, then I have enough in there, enough cushion in there to pay commissions. I want $1 million for my property, but the buyer is willing to pay me $1,025,000. And if they're willing to do that, I'll kick back the $25,000 back towards commission. So it's kind of hard to put that on paper, right? But the way we're helping you guys do it, we're going to talk to you guys about getting creative in those situations. As long as the appraised value comes in, we feel like there's enough cushion in there to be able to support a higher purchase price. Your client can offer whatever they want for the house, right? They could go in higher, they could go over market value if they wanted to. But as long as there's some cushion in there, we'll be able to help you with it. The one-page document that we're going to create, it's going to have information in there that says, if they choose to work with you as a preferred client, right? And they sign that buyer's agreement, they're going to get all sorts of great benefits. So no matter what, they're getting it, but we want to put it in something where they have to commit to you to get this. Would that be helpful to you guys? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Thank you, Ron. Couple things I want to talk about. So we'll just talk a little bit about the market and some products that I think are gaining a lot of traction right now. Rocket has self-employed assist loan. Essentially, you guys might know it as a bank statement loan. We're seeing more and more self-employed borrowers utilize this product. Essentially, if you're not familiar with the product, instead of using tax returns for someone who's self-employed, what we'll do is we'll pull the bank statements for the last 12 months and we'll base their income based off the deposits that we see. The interest rate on this product is generally 0.5% higher than conforming. So put it in perspective, let's say someone buys $1,200,000 home with 20% down. They're going to get in the conforming side an interest rate in the high sixes. If they end up doing this bank statement loan, we're not verifying any of their income. It's going to be around 7.5%. On that particular transaction, the monthly payment difference is like $400. You've got a client here who is not paying any taxes, paying an extra $400 a month because of this product that exists for us. Where if they had filed their taxes in a way that would allow them to qualify for that property, they'd probably end up paying the IRS anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 just in 1 year. Oftentimes they have to do that for 2 years straight. So there's a really, really awesome niche product that we have, and we're super fast and quick with getting it approved. Where if you've got a self-employed buyer who can't qualify utilizing their tax returns, we'll look at alternative methods to qualify them utilizing their bank statements, whether it's personal or their business deposits. And the rate is just slightly higher. Their long-term benefit is way better than if they actually had filed the income required to qualify for that purchase price. That's one thing that's getting pretty big. The next thing, we're seeing a lot of appraisal waivers right now on purchase transactions for owner-occupied homes on homes under $1 million. Do you guys know what appraisal waivers are?
Yeah.
You don't have to do an appraisal. If you have a listing on a home that needs work, my recommendation is for the sake of whether they go through us or another lender, it may not be the best idea in the body of the MLS to write investor special. Because if they do get an appraisal waiver through the automated underwriting system and the underwriter goes on the MLS and sees investor special, they might counter that and they'll have an appraisal be ordered to demonstrate that the property is doesn't have health and safety issues. You guys, does that make sense, right? So go ahead and put it on there somewhere else, maybe on the private remarks, or just don't write investor special on any property $1 million and under. That's probably what I would recommend.
So
Talk about the verified approval real quick.
Yeah, everyone do.
So verified approval letters are fully underwritten commitment to lend from underwriting, right? So your client comes in, submits all their documentation, we send them to the underwriter, underwriter validates it and says, now that I've looked at all of your information, here's your verified approval letter. Now, competing against cash offers, this is powerful. We all know when you get a cash offer, that cash buyer feels like they could do whatever they want. They could back out of the transaction. They're very volatile, a cash buyer. But when within your offers, you have a client who has a fully verified approval letter, and you walk up to the listing agent and say, listen, I get you have cash buyers. They're going to be volatile. This client is not only committed to this purchase, but has been completely vetted by the bank, and the money is as good as cash as long as there isn't a valid change in circumstance. So if I validated that you work for Keller Williams Beverly Hills and then you quit, you just completely messed up your approval with us, right? It's gone because it's not valid anymore. There's a valid change in circumstance. So we have a conversation with our clients in advance. Don't make any sort of changes that will compromise this fully underwritten.
And so that verified approval, just to reiterate, is, I would argue, better than cash in most instances, because most cash people oftentimes get out of the deal. They feel like they're king, and to some degree they are, and to some degree they aren't. They're not nearly typically as committed, right? There are more out of escrow deals through cash buyers than anything else, because they feel like they've got options everywhere, where this verified approval is someone who's really typically very committed, and they are often really as good or better than cash in terms of they've been fully underwritten as a person to make sure that they can afford the property and go through on the deal. So I just want to emphasize that, guys, that's very, very valuable, and leverage these guys with your buyers that have verified approval.
Which is partly why when we do speak with one of your clients that you refer to us, we're very, very thorough up front. It can get a little bit intensive with the paperwork, but that's for a good reason, right? That's to protect the client, that's to protect you, and that's to protect us. When we do these verified approvals, we're treating it like an active escrow. So we are going to ask everything and anything that's required to make sure that borrower doesn't come out of that verified approval process with any further questions from underwriting. That loan is going to be fully approved, like they're an escrow, and they can go into that deal with no loan contingency. I've never submitted a verified approval offer with a loan contingency ever. Because what's the point?
And we've been able to write COEs as short as 14 days with
Oh, yeah.
this whole program. So we could be very aggressive with your close of escrow using this program as well. Last thing that I personally want to touch on is lead generation. You guys all want leads, right? You guys all want to be able to go after the market pretty hard. We've invested into some systems that will help you create marketing content with digital call to actions. And we'll set you guys up with that. But if you're hosting an open house, we could create a website around that property, put the listing agent's information in there. But all those leads that go to that website come to you. So there's a lot of creative things that we could do.
Take advantage of this. You guys, it's.
I mean, look, it's so there's another system in addition to this that I have. It's called MBS Highway, but it basically gives you guys tools that does a rent versus own comparison. Why should you buy versus renting? What are the advantages, right? If you have an investor, why should I purchase this investment? What's the return on this? And what it's pulling is the forecasted rate of appreciation in that community using supply and demand. How many properties are for sale? How many properties has the city approved for new build? And then how many mortgage inquiries have we seen in this month, right? So every time you pull a mortgage, credit report, so you go to a bank and they pull your credit, it's a trigger alert. We get a list of how many people are doing that and it creates a supply and demand factor. We know what's happening. That creates the forecasted rate of appreciation. The Los Angeles County Tax Assessor has their forecasted appreciation. Then you look at local analysts. Analysts will say, well, it's 1.5% to 2% above what the Los Angeles County Tax Assessor is projecting just because of the interest of wanting to buy. The lower the rates get, the more demand there is, right? So we have these tools, we have these systems that will help you and create these contents and get some lead generation your way. Take advantage of it. Anything else you want to add? Good. Yeah.
Quick question. What's the difference then between the verified approval letter from you guys or pre-approved?
Very different.
So pre-approval with every single lender, pre-approval is exactly the same. Pre-approval, you come to me, I type in your information into the computer system. It's our automated underwriting decision system. Every bank uses it. The computer says yes or no to you. But what if I made a mistake and said that your gross income is $200,000 and I didn't take into account specific write-offs on your tax return that just brought your $200,000 down to $150,000, even if you were a W-2 employee, right? So by the time it gets to the underwriter turns around and says, wait. You inputted this information into the system. The reality of the client situation is different. So I don't agree with the computer. I'm denying this or countering it, saying you don't qualify for $1.5 million purchase. Now you qualify for a $1.1 million purchase.
It's already been underwritten.
Verified approval. The underwriter is the one who makes the decision, not the computer. That's the difference.
So if you guys have pre-approval and then it gets to the underwriter and the probability that it actually goes through is not necessarily that high. You know, where the verified approval, it's pretty much
And
guaranteed.
you are going to give all the information from the client to you guys. The underwriter is going to go through it.
Much different level of vetting.
The only thing I want to add, because this is important and this gets missed by some clients because they have selective hearing, interest rates are very, very, very volatile. They're up and down all the time. We can't lock the client in until they have an active RPA. They have an active purchase contract. The seller has agreed to sell them the property. Between now and then, that interest rate that we're talking about is fluctuating. It's moving. What if I approve your client based on a 6.99% interest rate, but now the interest rate is 7.5%. So the expectation with the client, we need your help because we will emphasize it all day long to the client. Interest rate's not locked until you're in contract. The day you go into contract, we'll lock you in. We need that from you as well. Whether you're working with us or another lender, it doesn't make a difference. You as the real estate agent, you're the captain, you're the quarterback. You need to be emphasizing those kind of changes and let your client absorb that and feel that as a reality as well and not get distracted. If the interest rate goes up, it's still a great purchase right? So the verified approval letter, we're basing it on some kind of interest rate. Usually we're conservative about it and we bump it up. But what if I'm extremely conservative and I put down 7.75% and there's a massive hit to the market, a disaster happens of some kind, and interest rates go all the way up to 8.5%? How's your client going to react? Are you going to lose that client? Are they going to turn around and say, I don't want to buy anymore? So you have to be proactive in talking to them about the changes in the market. Yeah.
Excuse me, can you repeat for bringing the taxes down, how you do that? You were talking about that before.
Bringing your tax obligation down?
So we don't, are you talking about what Ron just mentioned in that scenario he gave, or the self-employed assist loan?
I think the self-employed assist.
Got it. So
Go ahead, if it's gonna be quick.
I'll be super quick. So when you're self-employed, you guys will understand this. You've got expenses. So if you make $200,000, it might cost you $190,000 to make that $200,000. If that happens, you generally can't qualify for a mortgage using your tax return. So what we do instead is we look at the bank statements and we look at the commission checks that go into your bank statements and use that as your income. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. So that brings the taxes down?
So it has nothing to do with your taxes, but it helps you qualify for a mortgage. The fact that you wrote off $190,000 to make 200 brings your taxes down.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Guys,
thank you.
you could see how knowledgeable these guys are and how many tools and resources they have. So leverage them, use them, utilize them. They're here to help. They're not going to do much help if you don't engage. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. We have Armand and Amy, Team Upmost, who recently joined us, who are amazing people, very experienced, top producers. Actually, Armand developed this property. He's also a developer as well as a top agent. They are doing an open invite only for our office Thursday evening from 6 to 9. I will personally be there. An amazing home. It's like a wellness home. So it's a lot of interesting, unique attributes to this home. So I would encourage, we will want to show up, support our people. I'll be there. I hope all of you will be there. It'll be an amazing event, and bring your buyers. So Thursday evening, 6 to 9. Just want to point that out to everyone. Great job to these guys. Jerry, Lauren, do you want to give us a quick state of what you're seeing in the market?
Inventory has been up, so open orders have also gone up. And that's what we look at and feel in real time, because a month later is when everyone reads about what's happening in the market. So if we're seeing that firsthand, these open orders are all things to begin with. We know that most of them end up selling. So when that produces more escrows, that means your clients are going to read soon enough that the market is picked up, even though rates have not gone down. So regardless of the interest rate climate, even though we know that's impacted things, people are used to it, and they are committing big time to these properties, especially under 5 million, guys. I know we're in Beverly Hills, so it's luxurious to see and want to go for the big ones. You know, anything over 5 million is not moving away. We're used to seeing it, and there's a lot more agents going for it. So try and think 5 million and less, and you can have a great career. Internet, ongoing transactions at that level. And those are the properties that are moving. So just remember that. Yeah.
Lauren.
Okay, for those that may not know me, Lauren Goldman with First American Title, I did a little bit different take. I see inventory rising, but I see it very tough to get over the finish line. I see inventory rising, maybe some orders are getting open, but guys, when the rates bump up, out 3 weeks ago, a month ago, I saw a rush to close. I saw people that were locked in the 6s. And if they went shopping again, it was going to be in the 7s. So they closed. They did whatever they needed to do to close on that property. Now, getting over that finish line, getting them from the listing buyer to a closed deal is a little bit tougher now. They're balking at the rate. Some of these people may not qualify. So even though there's inventory building out there, I just don't see them getting as quickly as they did before to that finish line. So you got to work extra hard, a little bit differently, and you certainly have to nurture those buyers along the way, because they will fall out over the littlest thing. They are spooked about rates all day long. The high end, there are some sales. There's still plenty of money out there. They're looking for value. They're looking for done. It may not be their first, second, third home. And I agree with Brandon, that should not be your primary focus. of your real estate business. It should be the cherry on top. This town allows you to do that. But you guys need to swing for singles and doubles and hit for average. You will connect in this town. You will hit a home run. But right now, just hit for average, make yourself a career, build your bank account. The market will start to come back. We'll get a little bit easier. But right now, just nurture everyone. They're so important.
Love it. Thank you, Lauren.
Gary, business must be good because there's so many title guys in the office right now. Like, I want to reiterate what Brandon just said, because like we're getting a lot of title orders. We're noticing that in that 2 million price point range, that product is coming off the shelf a lot sooner. Like it's not staying in the market as long. 4.5 and higher, they're staying on the market a little bit longer, like average like 56 days or so. But I do want to say, leverage what you have in this room. You have so much wisdom and so much access and so many tools. I'm proud to say that like this last, we're only 14 days into the month. The teams that we're working with and the agents we're working with, we have 27 new listing appointments just based on doing a deeper dive into the knowledge and the resources that we have. If divorces is your niche, there have been 1,500 in the last 12 months. If affidavit of death is your niche, which, I mean, there's been a lot of those, unfortunately, 16,825 in the last 12 months. And then 89 canceled and expired listings in LA and San Diego and OC County. We can help provide those tools and that information to you. And also we can help give you those talking points that you need if that's your niche. So just reach out to us. We'll give you the tools to help support that. And we're here to help you succeed. Yes.
Wondering if you had any numbers on the percentage of closings. Okay.
I don't have, that's a great question. I will follow up with you on that. I will try to find out.
Cash buyers. You know.
What percentage of- Yeah, that's a great, I don't know.
What percentage of closes people still buying like.
Thank you, Jared.
Michael. Right. Josh is always looking for a buy when date. Well, buy when is going to be August 17th. That's the buy when date where the NAR settlement agreement is going to take effect. That's when all the MLSs have to comply and the commission to selling office comes out. And we have to start using the buyer broker agreements. However, our office is requiring them to use now. Get used to them. But what I handed out was the difference between an exclusive and non-exclusive agreement. PAR is going to change all the forms in June, so I'm not going to go into specifics on what those are until they come out. But just realize that you're going to need to sign some sort of agreement, and whether it's a normal long form buyer broker agreement or they're coming up with a limited property representation and compensation agreement, which is basically going to be used for like if you're taking somebody out for the first time and you want to show them a house, it's good for a week. It will indicate the commission that is going to be paid to you and also the property. I'm not going to go through this now because we're limited on time, but everyone should have got it online in the chat, and I'll email it out about the differences. Also, it's important to know about the balcony inspection laws. So that's, I've sent that out in email. Starting in January is when the new law, all balconies, all properties that have sort of a raised balcony, multifamily condos, have to be inspected. So if you are representing a buyer of a property, it could be a condo, it could be a multi-unit building that has balconies, understand that balcony inspections have to be made. It doesn't have to, it's not a point of sale requirement. You don't need to close the sale, but you need to know or your buyer needs to know if an inspection has been made and what the results were, because it's going to fall on whoever owns the property to be in compliance. So it's important to know about that. And also we're going to figure out a way, I think office wise, to let, so the commission to the selling office. So that is coming out of the MLS, but you could still offer it. So when you take a listing, you're going to explain why it's important, to provide a buyer's broker commission payment, and why as a seller, you'll attract a lot more buyers if you do. It's perfectly fine for you to put it on your own marketing material, your website. It can be on our website. I was on a broker call, and some of the bigger listing agents out there, like your Aaron Kermans, may have automated telephone systems that they have in place. So if you're calling, where a broker can call up, if you're calling about 123 Main Street, CSO, press 1. If you're calling about 439 Cannon, press 2, and it'll tell you what the CSO is. So it could be anywhere except the MLS. And there might be a way for it to feed in from the MLS to our own website. We're going to find out if that's legal, but it just can't be on the MLS or segregated out there. And yeah, so the new forms are coming out in June. We'll have an update on that.
But do you think this, if it could be boxes to check or different forms? Do you think like as far as like the exclusive, it could be the same form?
Yeah, so the form will generally, they usually don't make drastic changes. So right now, the buyer broker agreement is defaults to non-exclusive. And non-exclusive means, if you read the paper, as long as you had some active involvement in showing the property, and the terms are down there. So you were physically shown the property by a broker, the broker, or virtually. So it could be either one. Did the broker set an offer? Did they perform a market analysis? Just merely sending buyers a list of properties is a broker involved. So if you had any sort of broker involvement that fit and you have a non-exclusive and they wind up buying that property, you'll get paid.
Excuse me, is the dual agency still in effect?
Yeah, dual agency, yeah, because you could still be able to represent, listing. Broker will still, well, if we have, yes, to answer your question, it's still in effect.
The Zillow's,
Touring agreement?
yes.
So if you're not familiar with the Zillow touring agreement, it's like literally a one-page agreement. Car has a problem. Car Legal thinks there are issues using it in California because basically the agreement says that and I think it's for buyers to sign if they are referred to a Zillow agent, Zillow lead agent to look at a property, and it's merely a touring agreement. But the agreement says that the agent is not their agent, and they're just showing them the property, but they're there to answer questions and price and this. But Car Legal says, well, that is what an agent does, and that requires licensed activity, and it could run into problems with undisclosed dual agency. So if a buyer is given this touring agreement and the listing broker is still the same broker as their broker, you've got a dual agency issue. That being said, the limited buyer representation, it's called the Limited Property Representation and Compensation Agreement. Think of it as like a baby buyer rep agreement that's coming out. There's a lot of new forms coming out. It's going to be an interesting June for that. And Car Legal will have online seminars, which are awesome because the people that wrote the forms will give the forms, give the webinars and explain it. Highly recommend everybody do it. So,
Excuse me, is there a limit to the percentage of commission for one party or both parties?
no, commissions have always been negotiable. So you could charge, the one thing that the office is not doing is we're not dictating what you should or shouldn't charge. It's always been a business decision of the individual agent, so whatever you want to charge your customer, your client is what you.
Yep. Awesome, Michael. Thank you. Obviously, a lot of changes and focus on what you can control one step at a time. No one knows exactly how it's all going to
Feel at a
unfold.
time.
You're fine. Just be informed. We're going to a lot of classes, a lot of states. So just be plugged in. That's the bottom line. It's nothing but an opportunity for those that really create value. That's how I see it. All right, so I'm going to introduce this great guy who's become a close friend and business partner, Jordan Pollack. Jordan launched and owns LA Luxuries. It's a very, very purposeful estates management and short-term rental business. It really creates, and I'll let Jordan explain a lot more. That's what we'll do. A lot of opportunity for you guys on many different levels. So we're here to create a lot of value for you. And Jordan's one huge lever that I think you guys are going to be really pleased to hear more about and how we can work together to get more business for all of us. So come on up, Jordan. Awesome. So, and so funny enough, Jordan, prior to my time, worked here, not as a licensed agent, and then took his own path and built LA Luxuries. So maybe a little bit of background on yourself and how LA Luxuries sort of was birthed. Yes.
Worked here about 7 years ago as an assistant to a real estate agent. Bought a condo for myself and my fiance, and wanted to rent out the condo and cover my expenses. I didn't want to move in until we were married. Found my mortgage was very high, and I didn't want to rent it for. I wanted to make a profit off of the rent, right? So, found a guy on Zillow advertising a 1-bedroom condo for 50% higher than all the other properties available in the market. And I gave him a call and I said, "What's going on here? Why are you so expensive?" He said, "Well, it's furnished." And we are offering seasonal leases, and Wi-Fi is included, and all your appliances are included, and your cookware, your dishware, everything like that is involved. I was like, "Well, can you do this on any property?" And he said, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I just bought a condo. Can I hire you to do it on mine?" That's how I got introduced to the business. He did it on mine. He made that 50% increase on it. I paid him a management fee, and I asked him, and that was a condo. I asked him if he could do this on houses. He said, "Yeah, technically you could do it on houses as well." And I started to cold call houses to pitch him to manage as vacation homes. So that went really well for a good year. And then, went my own path and built a real estate agency dedicated towards it, because you have to have a broker or be a broker to manage somebody else's properties. You cannot be just a typical real estate agent and manage it. Your brokers, don't want you carrying that. So I built my own brokerage so that I can manage the houses. And that opens up the door to, leasing and designing the house, the furniture, and, doing it in that path. So.
Love it. So give us a sense of how many homes in your portfolio, what's the sort of price range? Give us a little sense of what that clientele look like, and a little bit more specifically, what you charge them and why they're willing to pay it. What's the value proposition?
Yeah. So I deal with anywhere from 50 to 100 houses a year, all in our area: Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Beach Cities, West Hollywood, and Hollywood Hills. And I generally do properties that are 15,000 a month to 300,000, 500,000 a month. And the average, I think, is between 20 and 30,000 per month. And usually you can decipher what a property is worth by calculating every million as $5,000. So it's a $5 million property. We should be seeing about 25,000 a month on furnished rental, at least on a yearly lease. And then when it comes to vacation rentals, like seasonality, and we can push the budget up, 35, 40,000, depends on what is going on in the market and how much demand there is, and stuff like that.
So why are people trusting in you that have owned the homes? And obviously, if you can get those prices, the economics are probably pretty compelling. So from the owner's standpoint, what are you doing? And then how are you attracting renters or to those homes?
Right. So to go back to your other question, the commission that we're charging the homeowner is between 10 and 15%, which is going to be less than they would be charged if they just hired an estate manager alone. Estate manager alone is going to cost them, anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a month for a 2,500 square foot home to 6,000 square foot home. So here they're kind of getting an agent they're usually going to pay 6% to anyway for a lease, plus, maybe an additional 4 to 8% for the management, which it doesn't come out to an extra 2 to 4K a month. It comes out to much less. And, obviously they're incentivized to go the path of an agent and a broker that's, doing both, than getting two separate people and kind of putting them in touch.
Sorry, how many percent you are charging? For example, if you get it for 10 nights, per night, imagine $1,000. How much do you charge?
So we're not doing Airbnb. This is not short-term rentals. This is just furnished vacation home leases.
Is it 1 month?
1 month minimum?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
1
how
month
many
minimum.
percent you charging?
Between 10 and 15%.
10 to 15% you charge the owner with the income?
Yes. Heidi, hold on one second. Let me finish and then I'm gonna open up the questions if that's okay. So how are you attracting the renters? Tell us what.
So there's a lot of people in the city that, kind of focus on renters, whether it's agents, insurance companies, travel agents and travel type companies. There are production companies that are looking to place actors, producers that are here for their film shoots. There are event companies that are looking to do events that we also do on certain properties that have that space. And, kind of just the social media influencers that are looking to rent houses for their social media businesses. 'Cause that's like the new thing, which I don't really recommend, entertaining them so often because they do make a lot of problems. But there's a lot of various channels that, we receive our clients through, and everything has to do with partnerships,
Relationships.
yeah, introducing ourselves to them and making sure they know that we're there. Another one is sports agents who are a lot of sports players are coming to LA for anywhere from 3 months to 6 months for training. So a lot of them are, reaching out to people, and they don't want to go through an Airbnb type of, platform to put up their player or to put up their client. So they want somebody licensed, they want somebody, professional, and they want to see the house before they rent it as well, not just kind of like rent it, sight unseen.
So obviously, Jordan has earned the trust of many of these very wealthy people in these homes. So that starts there. And just the level of service and accessibility he offers is phenomenal. I know him well, so I can vouch for that big time. That's a huge piece, is that level of trust with that large an asset. Then ultimately, the big picture is like, what does it mean to you guys? So the vast majority, correct me if I'm wrong, of the homes that he manages are really in many cases overpriced listings. Right? So we can all relate to what that means, right? So when you have an overpriced listing, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to leverage that into something that's of value to you? You give it to Jordan, right? You let him manage it. He basically will never take that client from you. He'll sign a contract stipulating that you'll get your 2.5%, 3% on that lease, right? That Jordan can cut out of his piece because he's taking a much larger piece because it's providing tremendous value. And it's like a built-in nurturing program for you. So when and if the market adjusts or their expectations adjust and they go to put it back on the market or sell, or even if they haven't taken off the market, it's right there waiting for you and you've created value for them. And even if you're going out to lead generate expired listings or whatever, and you lead with, okay, well, I'm not interested or this is my expectations. Well, I have another option for you. I have a partner who owns a very high-end property management business. And have you ever considered, renting this on a short-term basis with someone who's really good at what they do? And then when and if the market adjusts, we can go put it on the market or get it sold. So there's a huge opportunity for you guys to align with Jordan, give him these opportunities. You still get paid on the leasing piece. And when and if it's ready to sell, it goes back to you to sell it.
Right. So that's something we should highlight. This is for your benefit. We have partnerships with a lot of agents, and also, Keller Williams and LA Luxuries have partnered so that we can cut commission checks to you guys. Our brokerages are basically communicating. And so again, if you have a listing that's sitting on the market or that's a great event space, a great film space, you contact us, and then we'll essentially expose that property to the right people to even, make your client and yourself money before you sell the property. So it could be still on the market with you for sale and you do this, or let's say you want to take a break off on the market and come back when it's a healthier, market. So this is for everybody's benefit to be introduced. Now, a regular listing,
And there are other people that do this, which I'm sure somebody, and with all due respect, no one does it as well as Jordan does, or he wouldn't be sitting here.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So
I'll put him on
you
the
have to
spot.
be, careful when you work with companies that do this, because you have to be licensed, right? There's a lot of companies, not a lot, but there's a handful of companies in the city that promote themselves as agencies that are not licensed at all. They are essentially operating under the radar, and the city has problems with them because there's waste complaints and, essentially they're not being conducted properly. So you want to make sure that your license is jeopardy by doing business with a vacation home rental company, and that's where you want to be, with a vacation home rental agency and not a company. Because they're just opening up, corporations and then stating they're managing properties without a license. So you just have to be careful with that. Ask them, what's your BRE number? But in general, the benefit of working with us is that we have the largest inventory of homes for vacation rentals. So basically, and we have ads around Beverly Center, we do online ads, stuff like that. So your MLS, let's say you list a property for lease on the MLS yourself. In this market today, you're probably going to see around 4 to 5 leads a month, whereas our agency is receiving 20 to 50 leads a month without.
And look, you're not doing the work, give it to him, you're getting paid. I mean,
So
it's a
when
no-brainer.
we're charging the landlord, 15%, we're still interested in paying you when we do the lease, your lease commission of 2 to 2.5%. And you basically get to continue focusing on your sales while you have trusted company and a partner that is nurturing, your landlord and potentially your client, your renter that you don't want to work with. Every time you do a check-in for a 3-month rental, it's like, how much, craziness that is, and all the little things, and then all the questions they have after, where's the light switch to this and that. We set them up with a WhatsApp group. So everything is handled for move-in and for repairs, and kind of just makes you look good and, not do all those tedious things.
Yeah, the other, and then I'll, Pam, I'll get to you. One thing is like, give him an opportunity. If there's an opportunity that presents itself that this may work, let Jordan speak for himself to your client. Believe me, he does it very well. He's got tremendous track record. So you may be wondering, how do I pitch this? How do I leave that to him? And believe me, he'll represent you extremely well. And again, I speak from firsthand experience.
Yeah, if you have a client that, is kind of on the edge, or you don't know how to approach that conversation, but they're interested in it, definitely get me on the phone or in person. Usually, I close a lot of the people who are interested in this very well, especially when it's essentially like saying you have Aaron Kerman as your co-listing agent. Is LA Luxuries is kind of that, in today at least, is your mega agent for leasing. I didn't get it right. It took many years and a lot of debt to build my agency.
Pamela.
3 questions.
Can
One
I
is-
ask a question?
Yeah, Heidi, 1 sec. Yep, we'll get to you. 1 sec.
Heidi. Have you thought about expanding to the desert where rentals?
I haven't, no, we just do local. This business is very hands-on. And so you need somebody trusted that's going to be at the property within an hour, 30 minutes.
He's got little kids to make sure he takes care of.
I have little kids. I can't get somebody out there.
Right.
There are other companies that you should look into if you want the desert. LA Luxuries basically focuses on LA and the beach cities. New properties, minimum 15,000 a month, $3 million average value, or more, for what we work on. It's just a lot of work. We need to make sure that we're getting compensated enough to do that work.
Jimmy.
The other question was, how, do you get your clients other than realtors?
Renters or the homeowners?
No, the clients are the homeowner.
At both.
Okay, well, the homeowner, the property itself.
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, they come to us. Anyone who's gonna just be searching online for, vacation home lease.
Sphere of influence. I mean, it's the same way most of you guys, get your
That's, yeah, I mean. agents,
reputation, track record.
Companies,
referrals.
a lot of insurance companies have worked with us many times already. So like ALE Solutions and all of the other companies, they know us. And so they're gonna refer their client who just had water damage to this agency. And they say, reach out to this agency. They can help you find a furnished home and you can tour it beforehand. And, you can negotiate the terms with the landlord. You can add utilities or not, or can, put it into the deal. But if any of you just type in LA vacation homes, LA luxuries is coming up on Google. Or Google My Business, we have ads around Beverly Center. So you don't recommend us, your client might actually find us without you recommending, and it's better for you to recommend so that we can cut you into that commission. And agents who don't want to deal with tenants, who are, dealing with their clients for sale. They know how annoying it is to do, first of all, to do the lease, to do the whole movement process, find the lease. So when you're dealing with vacation rentals, this is one of the hardest problems in our business, is that every single lease that's advertised on the market is advertised at a yearly lease rate, which means that if you have a client that's telling you, hey, I have $50,000 a month, I need a 6-month lease, and you say, and they say, we need to start July 15th, right, for 6 months, and you look at the MLS inventory and you see, 75 homes that might match their criteria, you have to call every single home to ask them, how much is it for 6 months, first of all, because it's different than the yearly price. And is it available July 15th?
Right.
And you might go from 75 to 3 houses that are actually fit that criteria. And then the client might end up saying, actually, I don't like any of these 3. So then that's another thing, you can reach out to us because we have so many leases going on that the houses that are on the market are different than what we hold. So I have houses that are occupied right now and opening up July, but they're not currently on the MLS. My leases end at a certain time, and that's another benefit that you're having, is that you're going to show them off-market options. We work through you. So if you want, we can work directly with the tenant and cut you in, or we can work, for the tenant and just have you, on the sidelines, and you can check in with your client and say, how is it going with LA Luxuries right now? What have they sent you? Or we can send you the options and then you forward it to your client and you just remain that, that middle piece.
He's here to be your partner.
Yeah.
Yep. Jimmy, you go ahead, man.
Yeah, hey, so I come from the short-term rental game, did it for about 2 to 3 years or so, so I give you major props. My question is, I often have short-term renter guests still looking to inquire. So do you have a inventory that you see based on the schedule, different things of that sort that we'd be able to access and see what you got available?
Yeah, so we have an inventory, but it's just like the MLS. You're not going to know when it's available and what the price is for whatever time frame. And that's where we'll send you a form. Essentially, you write your name or the client's name. You write exactly what they're looking for. Send that. You email that to us, and we have a PDF that's your client. And then we'll start to look at our own inventory. Every single client essentially is a fresh start. So then we're literally contacting each homeowner and saying, is it available July 15th? What is your asking rate for 4 months, or for, 5 weeks or whatever it may be? And then over, it usually takes anywhere from 0 to 3 weeks to get you a full, healthy list of options for that client.
Are these strictly single family properties?
Yeah, single family properties, minimum 15,000 a month and higher.
Sure. Jordan, quick question. Pam, 23%. The office just got back to me. 23% represented all cash buyers. That's up 16% from 2021. So there's still a lot of cash buyers out there. Is the luxury rental space an indicator as to how the market is doing? Can we kind of?
I mean, yeah, 2.5 years ago, rental business was crazy. And I think for sales, it was also crazy. So right now, the rental business, I mean, God, I'm doing unbelievable in terms of listing and management, but the actual rental of the properties right now are very slow. And that might be a sign of the current market. There's a lot of supply and there's not that much demand for properties. I think people don't want to spend 20 to 50 to 100,000 a month on rentals right now when the whole world is in a state of chaos. That's my opinion. And, you know, also summertime, which is what we're entering now, it always picks up for rentals because you have these summer leases going on. And so I don't really focus on sales so much to know that, although some of my leases sometimes turn into sales. It's just not my priority because I'm so busy with the management and whatnot. But 2.5 years ago, I saw the craziest amount of volume in leasing. We did like 63 leases in 2022. So you can tell me if 2.5 years ago it was strong.
I have two questions. So is this
I have a
Hold on,
few
one more
questions.
second, Heidi.
she's gonna want it tonight.
Go ahead, Heidi. Quick.
Okay, my question is that
Yes.
how you guarantee the owner that this tenant after 2 months, 3 months, they're going to leave the house?
Again, how are we gonna, they're active estimate squatters. Yes, squatters. You know, vet the client. I mean, it's not Airbnb where you're just checking them in without really knowing who they are. Vetting them, there's an application process, background check. They're really, you know, sketchy, a criminal background check, lit check.
But
And,
when
you
they
know-
coming for vacation, maybe some of them are all of them they are unfurnished, or do you have furnished as well?
No, I do only do furnished homes. I'm sure it's been before. I've never experienced that. You know, kind of common sense and a good feel for people, you can kind of get a sense.
Track record.
You know, they also have to be Googleable. Anyone making, you know, anyone renting a house for 30,000, 20K a month, they have to make at least 60K a month in their business to afford that. They should be Googleable. You should have some information about them. If things are missing, if there's puzzle is missing, it should give you a red flag, right?
So he has a lot of experience in this and there's no guarantee. Track record speaks
And
for
then
itself. Yeah.
another question that imagine we give you the house that is, I don't know, $7 million and you rented $20,000 a month, means from 15,000 we are getting just $375.
You're getting exactly what you would get if you listed it yourself for lease. Most of the time you're gonna
No, but
charge
that
your.
is yearly.
Sometimes we
It's
get
rent.
double ended, like 6, no, most
Yeah.
leases are double, that's like 6%.
If you're referring it to us, we're gonna essentially refer you as if you were the tenant's agent at 2 or 2.5%, as if you did the deal. Because again, there may be another agent that comes in and brings the client or somebody else we have
Yeah,
to pay
but
out.
that one we get it yearly. This is for the 1 month.
Yeah,
No, you'd be getting paid on the year.
on the year, yeah.
Yeah, depending on how long you lease it, you get paid
The lease term.
every single time. So if we lease it for 4 months, you're getting paid 2.5% on 4 months. If you lease it after that 4 months for 2
that's
years,
right.
you're gonna get paid 2.5% on a 24-month lease.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, I think she kind of asked you the question I was gonna ask. Only thing is, I wanted to know the difference because it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, does this fall under the category of rental arbitrage?
No, so rental arbitrage, which I don't know if other people even in this room know what that is.
Okay.
Rental arbitrage is when you lease a property and then you have the right to release that. That makes the difference on that.
Yeah,
We are just a broker. We're connecting the dots. We're exposing it to the right people and working for the homeowner. We want the homeowner to make the most money, not ourselves to make that most money.
Okay, so and so you guys are the broker, you guys get agents, give them or expose them to listings, and then the agents go and scout? Or you guys give us clientele?
No, it's
Dennis.
us going to him when properties, that's we.
Oh, so we bring you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Properties.
Okay.
This is the benefit, right? If you have your own lease that's 25K a month and you just have that on the MLS, you're on average gonna get 4 clients in this market a month.
Okay.
As leads. If you partner with us, we're gonna expose that to the already 40 to 50 clients we get per month as well. So you're opening it up to more, opportunities for your client to get it rented faster, to
But
different
you are
opportunities.
furnishing it? You said
If the
that you-
house,
The house is
if the house needs to be furnished, then we will help furnish it. We'll get a designer in there, or we'll get a stagers in there, depending on how long they wanna, rent the house out for. To rent the furniture or to buy the furniture.
Okay.
Just when you have a potential opportunity, engage Jordan. Look at each opportunity on its own unique merits, and I assure you, again, he's a trusted person here. So I know him well, and I've worked with him, and I think it's a great opportunity in the right circumstances. So
Yeah, this is for you guys, I'm here today for you guys to add an extra layer of, value for your clients. Again, because you need to be a real estate broker to manage property, you can't do it yourself anyway. So it's as if you refer to a lender, right? You're referring to an estate management company. It makes you look good when you refer to a good management company or a good lender. So this is that value, and also, it may make you the listing, may get you the listing. Your client may want to do lease and sale together because they may want a high, number on their sale, and they know it may take some time. So this gives, and if we're leasing the property while you have that listing for sale, you have a less likelihood of losing that listing after it expires to another agent, because you're making your client money and they're happy. So they'll extend with you if it didn't sell after 6 months, and they'll say, let's do it, let's see another 6 months.
How many of your clients, the owners of properties will list with you, let's say for 6 months, but they keep it on the market with the understanding that if they have a potential buyer, if a potential buyer comes along, they have to wait to the end of that lease expiring to actually close the property. Do you have any?
Yeah, we have some clients that want to sell the property more than they want to lease it. And, they're worried that if we get a tenant in there that, is going to come in at the same time that they get an offer, they can't take the offer. So in that case, we have it in a contract that, and obviously it has to be discussed with the tenant. If we can give them 30 to 60 day notice and, cancel the contract if it does get sold. Some tenants are actually interested in that. They feel like they can get a discount because of that, or they feel like they are not, bound to the contract, and maybe they don't want to necessarily have to go through the entire term. I just did a showing this week. Somebody said they want to sign a 1-year lease, but if it got sold, they're cool with a 30-day move out.
That's a really good selling point when you're going in for a listing that you think is going to take a while to convince them at the time to
But then the
get it out. And
Right.
then be quiet, Heidi. It doesn't get in the way. Go ahead, Heidi.
yeah, so you're absolutely right. Yeah. Go ahead, Heidi, and then we're gonna wrap up with Jordan. We got 2 more things fast. Heidi, go ahead. Oh, John.
What's the longest period of the time? The shortest one is 1 month.
Shortest is 1 month.
What's the longest time?
So the shortest is 1 month lease, but we've done events like weddings at certain properties that are, 2-day event. They have to build up the day before, the event goes the next day, and we'll tear down on the 3rd day.
Right.
So we've done 3-day types of rentals, and also film productions. We have Netflix and NBC and Apple TV and all these major companies that need to work with a licensed agency that need a house for a week. It's a lease where they're living in the home, minimum up to years.
Okay, yes. You take care of what they need on form and everything, application, everything. You take care of this.
Take care of.
Very
Yeah.
To piggyback on that question earlier, if a sale occurs and the new owner says they can outlive the lease, would you take that over? Like, there's a 6-month lease, a purchase occurs at 3 months, they have 3 additional months. And say both the new owner and the tenant agree to extend the lease for those 3 months, would you just transfer that?
Sure, or we have to get paid on whatever they're paying the landlord as a management fee without actually, executing that lease. or locating that tenant. We probably have a,
So it would be the same tenant. It's
right, but somebody else, I'm assuming, got that tenant in there. Not us,
the agent.
the agent prior.
So like you're pitching us as agent. So we're the listing agent, but it's a hard to sell property, mega property. The lease is for 6 months. We find a buyer in the midst of that 6 months. So it's the same
Mhm.
agent.
Right.
It would just be the new owner,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, we can take over for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a great
How many
tool to
people
have.
are working in your team?
I have like 7 different people and I have lead generation, I have partners.
Yeah.
We have the whole team
Yeah.
at the
So-
fire.
Yeah, so he's a very, very
We have enough
established,
people.
strong track record of people that trust him that
Right.
obviously.
By the way, this is really good for your clients that may love the property, but not for themselves. And they want to buy the property, but they don't see themselves living in it, but they want the appreciation. So they're interested in renting it out, but they're overseas and they need the management with it.
Great point.
So you don't have to only show properties, single family homes for people to live in. You can show them as income properties and then, partner with us to lease and manage the property after that. So that can actually make you more sales if you're dealing with people, that have enough money to buy multiple homes. Sometimes you see a home that you show a home that they love, but they're like, it's not big enough or doesn't have all the perfect things, but it's amazing. You'd be like, why don't you buy it for an income property? Right? Why don't we rent it out?
How do you handle your?
But they can Airbnb it as well then at that time. But do you
Before
do
I find it.
management as well?
I
Just
couldn't understand that.
management?
She makes a good point though, because in a sense, they can essentially Airbnb it too, right? So how do you guys come in?
Yeah, they can Airbnb. I'm not interested in Airbnb. If you're interested in that, it's a separate, business. It's a lot more risk. There is more reward in there. You're gonna make more money renting things on a nightly basis and getting friend group,
It's not, you can't vet them.
Yeah, you're not, you're just,
They give you an option where it's like you can do nightly or you can do like a 30-day. If you want to stay there for the month.
It's a different animal entirely.
again, you can get 5 friends to go and split 40,000 a month and it's only 8K a month. That group, it's just a different type of clientele. We're dealing with a very higher end. We're seeing their bank statements. Vetting them before they come in.
Much better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, we have 2 more people that want to share, so let's stick around.
Yeah.
Can you please share your cell phone number? I work something similar, but I would like to talk with you.
So this is Wafi. He was born and raised in Dubai, and he has opportunities in Dubai that he would like to share. I'll let him present, and then if you guys have any questions.
Just directly to that.
We have.
Yeah,
That is 125 an hour. Yeah.
When you go outside, you're not just loading it, with the seat on top of it.
No, they have to change the air conditioning unit.
All right, so first of all, thank you, John, for inviting me. To talk about an exciting opportunity for you guys to expand into Dubai. If that sounds interesting. A little bit about myself.
John. John.
The clicker doesn't work. A little bit about myself. My name is Wafi. I was born in Dubai. I was living in Vienna in Austria. I grew up there. I'm a business major with experience in business development. And next. Yeah, so a bit about the company itself. We are backed by experience of over 25 years, local experience in the market in Dubai. We are able to offer a diverse range of real estate.
Yes.
We're able to offer a diverse range of real estate, all the way from residential to commercial and everything in between. And we provide an all-in-one service. So for anyone who wants to come to Dubai to live or to invest in Dubai, we're able to offer everything from A to Z, from finding the right property to purchase and to finalizing the purchase. And in the end, if the client wants to sell it, we facilitate that as well. So These are our alliances with the most prominent developers in Dubai. So these are the companies that are on top of skyscrapers and on billboards in Dubai, if you've ever driven through the city. So yeah, very big companies there. So why will your clients be interested in Dubai? I have three main points here to keep it short. First of all, Dubai is a tax haven, so there's no income tax, no property tax. The economy is very stable. The local currency, the dirham, is pegged to the US dollar and set at a constant rate since 1997. And Dubai is set in a very strategic location. So it is a global hub, which within 8 hours, 2/3 of the world can get to. And within 4 hours, 1/3 of the world can get to Dubai. So it is in a very strategic location. More specifically, the appeal to investors is threefold. So your money goes a long way. You have high rental yields and you have high property appreciation. So for value for money, here you can see that Dubai is actually one of the most cost-efficient real estate markets in the world. Compare that to LA, you will see that the same amount of money will get you more than double the space in Dubai. Yeah, when it comes to rental yields, you will see that for luxury apartments in Dubai, the highest rental yields went from 7.46% all the way up to 9.5%, very high. Then when you look at, next slide, please. When you look at the property appreciation for investors who care more about their properties appreciating, you can see that the most popular areas for buying luxury villas in Dubai, all of the five had strong appreciation, ranging from 7.5% all the way up to a whopping 26% appreciation within 1 year. And yeah, essentially, with the proper guidance, we will let your customer know in what places to invest. And exactly, yeah. So this is an example of what we have for sale. This is the Crystal Lagoon with the view on the Burj Khalifa. You can go to the next slide, please. So yeah, this is located in the District 1 community. It is listed at around $5.7 million. And yeah, so this is part of our secondary market offerings. We do offer as well off-plan, which are properties or real estate that is still in development and it is sold right now. Very attractive for investors looking for a high return on their investment. We also offer land development and holiday homes. So yeah, we have expertise in that as well. And as I said, we are a one-stop shop for anyone wanting to come to Dubai as an investor or as a resident. We offer a total management of their investment journey and their portfolio. We look at the feasibility, the practicality, and the profitability of their investment strategies as a whole. We offer legal support and services in real estate and more. We manage the resale, the leasing, and we look at the profitability of their portfolio. And of course, we are able to leverage our network of prominent developers. So demand is high. Only within 1 year, the sales of homes worth $25 million and more doubled. So really crazy stuff here. And this demand also comes from US buyers. So this is the value of Dubai real estate transactions from US buyers in 2022, around $2.7 billion. And with that, I invite you guys to allow to give your clients a way to diversify in a growing market with high returns. So thank you very much. If you're interested, I would love to chat.
Are you Keller Williams Dubai?
No, I'm not.
No, it's
Okay,
not
what's your
that.
relationship with Dustville?
Dustville,
When
I'm
did
the-
you
I'm
open
the-
your office in Dubai?
I'm the business
Which year?
manager of so it's essentially my company. I'm the co-founder of it. Okay. We have partnerships with other brokerages.
Oh, I not so on video conference.
I don't like.
Which year did you open your office in Dubai?
Oh, no.
How do we make commission with you?
Oh, do you make commission?
Yes.
By selling to your clients, you will get your standard commission.
Can you say how much is the commission in Dubai? I think it's
To
surprising.
talk about the specific.
Guys, we're gonna give Wafi's information through an email.
No, yeah.
But now we have someone from Santa Barbara coming. Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
appreciate it.
Rafi, can you tell me
We
when you
will
open your office?
submit his information through an email.
Because I
so-
grew up there and this or not.
Okay, this is Deanne from Santa Barbara.
Nice.
She has a beautiful listing that we want to either help her find a buyer, or if you guys have any business in Santa Barbara that you want to collaborate, that is the intention.
Keller Williams, Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara. I've been a realtor for 18 years in the area, and I am a luxury specialist. So I'm having fun, and I made that shift about 8 years ago. But what I wanted to talk about is everybody thinks of Montecito, Santa Barbara, and then Montecito's this luxury. But within Santa Barbara is a neighborhood called Hope Branch. And if you've got buyers for Montecito, I encourage you to consider Hope Branch. Hope Branch is 800 estates. They're all over an acre. There's 1,800 acres total. It's an equestrian community. So there's 22 miles of bridle trails. It has private beach access where you can actually ride your horses on the beach there. That's only for that neighborhood. Has the top country club, Laguna Country Club. It's called Racket and Social. And Laguna Blanca School is a top rated school, 7-to-1 ratio of students to, and that's all within the community, within the area. So we can go to the listing. So I've got one of the most fabulous listings in there right now. It's 3.4 acres. We've got 8 bedrooms, 9.5 baths. And I just wanted to point out, can we go to the next one, please? There's some unique features there that I know you have never seen anywhere. And if we watch the video next, you'll see it's a minute video. And I just want you to pick out this feature that no other house has. Custom skateboard ramp. The playfield. He built for his teenage son to keep him home as a teenager. These lifestyle videos are becoming more popular for marketing. So thank you. So kind of tying everything that was talked about today is so crazy.
Yeah.
Playing the long game. I was the estate manager for this property for 6 years. Then I managed it as a rental during COVID time. After COVID, we got $70,000 a month for this property. So it is an investment property for some wonderful buyer. And now I'm the listing agent. So the long game is you get to know these big estates, and I'm the one they think of, when it's time to sell. So, and then I wanted to say Montecito versus, if we can go to the end with the graph. So next one. So Montecito versus Hope Branch are equally as, 7 million is like the median range house in the area. The house we just saw is 17.9, but I can show the investment opportunity, and it'd be an amazing second home for a Beverly Hills buyer. And I would stay on. I'd be the estate manager, comes with a rental manager, and they can make some good money. So I'm happy to show that possibility. We brought it on about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we had it on about 2 years ago. We leased it successfully, and then we put it back on. So same kind of thing Jordan's talking about. And the big thing is we don't have the mansion tax. We do not have mansion tax in Santa Barbara. Yeah. So I'd love if anybody's got buyers.
Three that you have it or?
Yes. And
Send it
Yeah,
out.
we're gonna send out Wafi and yours in an email.
okay, great. Yeah.
What's the year of build for that house?
2008.
Oh,
Very high end, everything hand chiseled travertine and solid wood and custom everything. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
The horses on that property.
There can be horses in the front. Yeah, it's equestrian, but there is not right now. But in that play field, the community will approve a horse barn and stalls for horses.
is that 10,000 square foot? You said the house?
78, and then the guest house is another 800 square.
Okay, so about 9,000.
Happy to help you guys if you have people in Santa Barbara.
All right. The last thing is we are having call night tonight, like right now. The idea is we all call together. If you want help with a list or who to call or what to say, we have Justin here that's gonna help us. The idea is that we lead generate together, we get deals. And we close deals. For close deals, you have to get the deal. So if you guys want to stay around and call with us, yes.
When you're done, I have one thing.
Okay.
Okay, next week, I have a listing above Sunset, probably one of the nicest condos in the entire city, around 3.1 million. Penthouse, right off Clark. It's got a rooftop deck with a full outside kitchen, a fireplace and a bathroom. Nothing like that exists in this city is compares to this in some ways. It's about 2,200 square feet, 600